Your angels are speaking to you. Do you hear them? Welcome to The Calling of Light with author and empathic spiritual tarot reader Anne-Marie Odell. The Calling of Light offers direct, empathic insight and relatable spiritual topics, interviews with special spiritual guests, and straight talk call-in readings. Kick back and enjoy free-form spirit tea with Anne-Marie, the way you like it best when you want to simplify. Here is your host, Anne-Marie Odell.
Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Odell, and thank you for joining me today. I am going to discuss tarot and psychology by Dr. Rosengarten, Ph.D. He says that he's witnessed far too much of the stunning psychological elegance and insightfulness stimulated by the tarot method to simply ride off into the metaphysical sunset. He says that in the pages of his book, he has elected to put his cards on the table to lay out what he believes the important groundwork, both philosophical and practical, for serious usage of tarot in the service of enhanced psycho-spiritual exploration. For at least 5 centuries, the tarot has survived the condemnation of church, the persecution of state, and the ridicule of academia. He is pleased, but not at all surprised, to learn that these ancient and evocative images are now attracting the serious attention of modern mental health professionals. Foremost among them, of course, is Arthur Rosengarten, Ph.D., whose provocative and thoroughly readable book discusses every avenue of how they are used in his office. It is clear to the doctor that the mystical concept of the archetypal images of the tarot is identical in essence with those of Jung's universal collective unconsciousness. And he firmly believes that under certain circumstances, the images of the tarot can trigger, activate. In the construction of Dr. Rosengarten's book, tarot is viewed as a powerful tool and method for psychological exploration. In this regard, clinical usage would seem a natural context for a technique which, as we shall see, offers so many psychological opportunities and benefits. Tarot reading is an original event unto itself. In this way, it is not different than a human relationship, a spiritual experience, or work of art. The doctor says several years ago he was invited to speak to an ongoing women's support group about tarot. He wanted to discuss the conditions under which experimenting with divination offered to make a small demonstration of the cards. The ladies seemed receptive to anything that might offer and gladly consented. The group was comprised of 12 to 15 college-educated, mostly middle-aged, affluent, professional women who had been meeting monthly for some 3 or 4 years. And meetings rotated between members' homes and usually followed with a potluck dinner. Few had experienced tarot firsthand, but everyone seemed curious. What then took place was typical of the tarot process. Members sat in a circle around a coffee table and were given the preliminary task of formulating an agreed-upon question. Itself, of course, 3/4 of the battle. Then they were encouraged to meditatively empty their minds of all expectation and shuffle or cut the cards mindfully and passed the deck around the table. And with the help of several volunteers to randomly select 4 cards from the face down fanned deck without turning them over. They placed these 4 unseen selections in their spread positions on the table. And in the brief reading format, only the 22 trumps were used. 4 were picked. After a productive 10 minutes of sorting through individual quarry ideas, it was not hard to determine the most compelling question of the bunch. What is the future direction of this group? So the rest of their session was looking at the cards and finding the dynamics that each card portrayed as the answer. The very first card turned up was death, reversed. And to say the least, not the most tactful way to launch a reading, particularly as the invited guest. When I wondered aloud, might this mean? He emphasized that responding in this way gave the group a chance to discuss what it might mean. It sometimes can narrow possibilities. I suggested to the rather baffled ladies that death's reversal occurring position pointed to some significant inner change that was emerging in the group's unfolding. Furthermore, he noted that the card was primarily concerned with endings and brand new beginnings, and its reversal suggested that some were in denial or resistant to change, or else the transformation referred more to those people and the ego death that they would go through by preventing change in a productive way for the group. Moving next to the second position, working against us, he turned the Empress card. And here he briefly described the Earth Mother attributes of the Empress: emotional support, fertility, unconditional love, passion, and explained the positioning had curiously suggested that such qualities were apparently not working so well for this group's. In fact, according to the reading, they were approaching something of a disaster. What might this mean? Again, he deferred back to group members. Up to that moment, the energy in the room had been genuinely quite friendly, supportive, accepting, and welcoming, as one might expect from a group of warm and bright women who had been meeting together in this way for years. But now, after 2 measly tarot cards, hot, steaming dragon fire began erupting like Mount St. Helen. Tarot, it seemed, had presented an opportunity to air certain grievances, apparently, of this group's normal functioning. One woman flatly announced she was planning to leave the group, but had been waiting for months to find the appropriate opening to announce this. People were shocked. She was obviously responding to the cards, but made no mention of them. Another woman said she resented the tendency of certain members to tactfully promote only safe and nice interactions, while often leaving her feeling like an ogre in her less composed side. She, though, declared outright, "I sometimes feel smothered by the fat, doting Empress. Frankly, she makes me sick." She began fuming as her finger aggressively poked at trump 3 on the table. The hostess was visibly bothered by the comment, countered defensively, "I think that's your choice, Mary. The space is there and has always been there." Another woman broke out with admission of having just been diagnosed with breast cancer, claiming apologetically, "I wasn't planning on saying anything for fear that such news would cast a negative feeling over the evening." A sad confession, I thought, for a support group that didn't seem safe enough for such important news. "But that's why we're here," another woman was quick to respond. "I can't believe you would feel this way." or the doctor felt like he'd stumbled into the murky undercurrents of a major family conflict. So you see how the tarot can bring out little things that maybe were not pleasant to hear, but really gives a deep soul search, not only in groups, but in one-to-one interaction. And so this is how tarot and psychology work. I have some readings that I wanted to give as an example of how I read. Of course, I am not a professional therapist. However, tarot is something I have used for over 40 years. And I thought maybe you might like to see or hear how they are used. And so the following will be my readings. Then say it again.
Stephanie.
And then one more time.
Stephanie.
And the first thing it says is there's been so much stuff going on. It says it's been a little overwhelming of just trying to do it all perfectly and finding that that's getting to be a chore for you. It shows you had to take your bitch pill about something. You had to put your foot down. And because it was either you doing too much for others.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot going on. So I just maybe advice on how do I not let my emotions override all of the circumstances, if that makes sense.
Probably for each person, it's unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at that question, you're a very romantic person. You exemplify a sense of angelic romance. Be more cautious.
Mm-hmm.
When you start noticing that you're taking on everybody's stuff and you're finding yourself wanting to throw plates at the wall, it's time for you to be more cautious about what you're stepping into. And your reading says also, never forget that you're living with your soulmate, mm-hmm. and that you just need to step away from that place of overwhelmment and just totally be in the space of your soulmate. You have a tendency to learn your lesson about not letting yourself have too many pokers in the fire, or you know better, but it's just a lesson that you sometimes forget. Your best course of action is to realize work is work, family is family. When you step away from work, you let it just disappear. And know that without a doubt, if there's going to be stepping into a crisis at work, or the crisis happens simply because Stephanie wasn't there to fix it, be okay with that. Mm-hmm. Understand it's not your problem to fix the world. And the last thing it says is, so remember, when your angelic romance feels like it's turning into a she-devil, that's when you need to step away from all things related to career, tune into your soulmate, and remember that work is work, home is home, and those two worlds should never collide.
That's good.
Okay? That's what it has. So, are you okay with that reading?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye, hon.
Bye.
Oh, you wanted a crossing over reading. If you will, say his first name.
Don.
And then say it again.
Don.
And then your pet name for him.
Don.
Oh, okay. He says, I am so sorry that I put you in a situation where you feel, and I feel, like you had no out, like you had to be locked into a situation, and I never intended that, and I am so sorry. He says, please know you are my best friend. And I hope that you know that I want to be your best friend. And I'm wrapping my wings around you right now, telling you, showing you, being in the energy of your best friend, your guardian. He says, you will never know how many times you stepped up to the plate and saved me. And I want to say thank you for that. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm sorry for the tough times we went through in the last 2 months. He says, it was hard on you. It was hard on me. It was hard on everybody. But he says, the one thing I have to say about dying, it's the time in your life you don't have to go to work anymore.
Sounds like that.
And he says, I'm kind of enjoying that. He says, the only thing is, even though I'm not going to work every day anymore and we're not having to work on things so hard, I miss you so much. I miss coming home to you. He says, one of the things that I don't know that you knew about me was that I dreaded it when you got cold and silent, when you got mad and you wouldn't talk to me, or when you just kind of stopped trying to help me. He said, oh man, I said, that scared me. But he says, now that I'm on the other side, I look back and I think how good I had it and how I am so thankful you were in my life and that I had you and family. And he just says, it's like a beautiful dream. He says, sometimes I wish I could just walk right up to you and put my arms around you, except I have to hold myself back because I don't want to scare the bejeebie out of you. He says, but I all the time, I do have my arms, my wings around you. And there are times that I would love to just walk up to you, but I know that might scare you more than it would make you feel good. So he says, I'm holding back, but look out for 2 months from now. 2 months from now, you're going to have a dream, and it's going to be so real. And he says it will be real because when you're dreaming about me, it's me, and I'm talking to you, and I want you to listen to me. He says, most of all, he says, I feel like things happen so fast. I feel like I didn't have a chance to make up for things that I wanted to make better. I just counted on my best friend to always be there for me. And I want you to know that I thank you for that. I love you. I feel like I miss you so much. And I just wish I could come home to you every day. And that's what I have.
Thank you. Will we ever meet again?
What did he just say? 2 months from now, you're going to have a dream that is so real that you need to remember it is real. And of course, he'll be there for you when it's your turn. But don't be in any hurry for that, goodness gracious. And I'll be right back with Tarot and Psychology, the Code of Ethical and Readings.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Odell, and thank you for inviting me in for Tarot and Coffee. I offer 37 plus years of accurate, honest tarot channeling. Spirit comes through me as a feeling, an inner knowing. I call it the angel frequency. As you say your first name, I close my eyes and shuffle my well-worn card as I go into a deep calm. By phone, Skype, or Zoom, contact me at thecallingoflight.com.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing a job
and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I'm back. We are discussing today Tarot and Psychology by Arthur Rosengarten, Ph.D. In his book, he points out reading styles, which I will follow with a code of ethical, intuitive reading. He turns to the art of reading itself. In this chapter, he goes into greater detail about how diverse psychotherapeutic systems may adapt their styles to specific techniques. The first one is the analytical style. It assumes that everything in a spread stands for something in the individual psyche, and related approaches which assume everything appearing stands for some aspect of the personality. This style typically takes each card and symbol one at a time and analyzes its multiple levels, those details which seem most important to the client. Interpretation typically involves the horizontal and vertical symbolic levels. And when an analytically based reading is given, the querent will come away with much information which will require further contemplation and introspection, not immediately grasped during the session, but more likely processed after they leave and think on it. This style will be less effective for seekers of limited intellectual understanding or capacity for insight. The second style of tarot reading in an office is the therapeutic style. This is based on reflection and perception. And in this style, the reader becomes primarily a supportive mirror who facilitates personal associations and feelings for the purpose of self-discovery. And the reader's role is like a client-centered therapist to listen and amplify, to reflect the querent's response back to them, and to offer support and guidance when called for. The reader may offer his own personal sense of the card when appropriate. As a mostly non-directive approach, the therapeutic style will not push for insight, but offer the safe and supportive container for the client to explore at their own pace. Is psychic style based on psychic intuition. This method, the reader uses the cards as springboards for inner sight and subtle sensory feeling. And whether they acknowledge it or not, most therapists use their intuition regularly and abundantly in counseling, whether consciously or unconsciously. In the psychic method, readers are encouraged to go with their hunches or felt senses that are triggered by the divination. True psychic or intuitive readers tend to turn all the cards upright at once, and after glancing at them, will direct their attentions more to the perception of subtle energy fields or impressions. Psychic readers may scan for 1 minute detail within the card that stimulates their own internal guides, trusting such clairvoyant signs through years of experience, often to the baffled amazement of both client and conventional tarotist, refining such impressions through a variety of sensory channels. The talented intuitive reader will convey subtle observations and insights. Most leading scholarly and practicing tarotists today do not consider themselves to be psychics, who specialize in psychic readings using tarot cards to consider themselves technically clairvoyants. Now, the fourth style is the magical style. Positive affirmation and conscious intent, and encourages the querent, the client, the seeker, to focus on the very highest potential in every card. Through positive affirmation and creative visualization. Again, this style is not typically used in the therapeutic context, but may be found useful for some specific applications. In my own case, the only times I would use magical positive for children who need positive reinforcement, or for those who specifically say, give me a reading, but only tell me the good stuff. I highly recommend the book Tarot and Psychology, Spectrums of Possibility by Dr. Anthony Rosengarten, Ph.D., for anyone that is curious about the use of tarot's application and working as a life coach, therapist, and also better intuitive reading. It's not for everyone, of course, especially for those who come to therapy to be nurtured and are not prepared for the honesty nor even interested in a spiritual philosophical approach. I also wanted to discuss with intuitive readers the importance of knowing the ethical code of intuitive reading, included in all certified psychic reading courses. The rules change in their wording from class to class in certification, but remain the same in their theme. And here they are. Number 1, I will not judge you. Number 2, I will be truthful but tactful. Number 3, I won't play God and predict death or lifespan. Number 4, I will help form your questions when you are having trouble asking what you feel. Number 5, I will not sugarcoat the truth to keep you coming back. I will tell the good with the bad. Number 6, I will admit when I'm over my head and refer you to qualified sources. Number 7, I am not a fortune teller. All readings will fit within a 12-month time frame. Number 8, I am an intuitive spiritual guide, but will not encourage you to be dependent on me. Number 9, you always have free will, and your path with God is your own. At this point, I would like to demonstrate some more readings that I gave in the last month, all of which have been given to me permission to use specifically for this episode. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Say your first name, please.
Jen.
And once again.
Jen.
And the reason I ask you again is because I'm getting the energy from your voice. And again. So Jen, here's what comes through. In the recent past, you felt like people were being more supportive of you. In the past, it felt like there was more gratitude. There was people being nicer to each other. But you're feeling like, that's weird. Everything seemed to be going okay. Why does everything feel like it's kind of stopped? Why does everything feel different now? Your reading shows that you may notice that in July, an opportunity that you thought was going to happen, and I don't know whether it's around career or romance, or does not seem to be following through. And you're noticing that in August, somebody is not being honest with you, or there is a sense that you feel as if you were told something that isn't happening. But the good part is, in September, you have absolutely no doubt that you are going to be successful. You're going to get what you want. But first, you have to reconsider that maybe you were given a promise that isn't going to come through like you thought. But it also shows that something kind of went boom and took a little bit of a hit and an opportunity. I don't know whether it's a promotion or raise, or whether it's something to do with family. You may want to just kind of sit tight. It'll all come around. When you reach the conclusion, you're no longer willing to put yourself on a shelf. September, you just know exactly what you should do. The one thing it says, though, Jen, watch out for denial. Watch out for seeing clearly what you should do and then not doing it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do you have a question?
I have an upcoming trip planned to Texas, and things aren't kind of going the way they're supposed to go. Is that going to go okay?
I'm wondering if you're going to have to reschedule.
It's been considered.
In all honesty, you might be better off if you did. It says you could go, but be careful. You wouldn't have as much fun if you're feeling stressed because things aren't in line. Whereas if you rescheduled and waited for a better time. And of course, are you flying or driving?
Flying.
Yeah, you know how it goes with flying these days.
Yeah, they keep changing my itinerary. And
yeah, it's really, because right now everybody's flying, everybody's going on vacation, and so they don't have enough people. They don't even have enough attendants to be able to meet everybody's demands. I guess what I'm going to say is be prepared. Everything seemed to be in line, but be prepared, as your first reading said. If you're going to reschedule, don't take the mindset of, well, why even bother? Do what you said you're going to do.
All right.
Thanks, hon.
Thank you.
Say your first name.
Laurie.
And again.
Laurie.
So here's what comes in, and I'm not sure what has caused you to lose some faith in the last 2 months. You're running out of patience. You're finding yourself very, very agitated, ready to run, or go. But it says think twice about doing that. If you jump into something, you may find that it works against you. If you're feeling tiredness in your feet or a sense of weird, foggy feeling of should I or shouldn't I, and maybe I'll just do nothing for now, that's smart. Because what would be not smart is if you jumped into doing something too quickly and then found that it only self-sabotaged you. Whatever this is, it seems that you shouldn't do it in your relationship. The time is not right now. Pause and think about it. If you have a question, that would help me.
Can I ask about Tippy?
Sure.
Just wondering how she's doing.
And I'll have you say that name one more time.
Tippy?
And please know, I don't know why this comes up, but it says, Mom, why are you feeling so? I says, I don't recognize you. I feel like you're trying to phase me out, but I know you're not. It's like I just feel like you're tuning out. Your dog realizes that whatever happened, that it was the most fair and kind and loving thing that you could do for Tippy, but also to realize that Tippy's life was so incredible with you that I think that nothing you did, nothing you do could be in any way be considered bad. Tippy says, Mom, why are you feeling so sad? I can't get through to you. I feel like you've been depressed and I don't know how to make you happy. I can't jump on you. I can't make you smile. I can't make you laugh. And Tippy just feels like he's trying to cut through the depression, which I believe that for whatever reason, Tippy believes is you shutting him out. You're doing that at all, but it's this sadness, this depression. Your reading says that I've always felt like what you and I had. I felt like I could look in your eyes and you could look in mine. And I just knew where I stood. And whatever happened, it's something that can never cause there to be any anger to you, any sadness that somehow you could have done better. And Tippy says, I'm lonely for you. I'm lonely for you. Your dog feels that there has been a lot of pressure on you. And for whatever reason, Tippy is taking it personally because Tippy loves you, doesn't want you to shut him out because you're feeling like you can't think about things because it depresses you and makes you so sad. Tippy says, Mom, no problem. Your dog says, I just feel I want you to be happy. I don't want to feel like this sense of disappointment I've been feeling about you. It makes me feel like I've done something wrong. I feel you are in crisis. I feel that something really, really bad is happening. And I feel like I need to be there for you, to take care of you, to make you feel that I can make you smile or make you happy. I can't be with you like I used to be. Everything's different. So when you smile and when you're happy, then I'm one with you. I can feel you. I can feel like I'm still there with you. But when you feel sad and depressed, and I can't help you feel better, it makes me feel like it's my fault, that I can do better. And that's what I have. So I think what this is telling me is no matter what happened, Laurie, you just have to understand earthly actions no longer matter when the love that you share together is what is energetically and most pure between you both. And you don't know that you're doing that when you're depressed. Think good things. Think about the happy times. And that bonding is still there energetically. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. You gonna be okay?
Yeah.
And I'll be right back. Tarot and psychology, spectrums of possibility, and more readings on the calling of light on OMTimes Radio.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Today we discussed Arthur Rosengarten, Ph.D.'s book, Tarot and Psychology, Spectrums of Possibility, Styles of Tarot Reading. Also, the Certification Code of Ethical Reading, and I gave examples of my own readings. I wanted to discuss also, when does reading have its epiphany moment? There comes a point in professional spiritual tarot reading where specific card meanings become too limiting, and their symbolic pictures become like windows into a reader's own clairvoyance. Their inner voice becomes so strong, intricate detail is mirrored back from the cards and also from the breath, energy of their client. Readings can be given in person and just as accurately, long distance. For those who believe energy is more intense in person, face-to-face Zoom or Skype can bridge the miles. Somewhere in your area are readers that would love your business. And yes, I say business. Seldom will you find a minister, priest, or rabbi who serves for free. They too need to eat and pay their utilities, gas, and bills. Most places of worship have a contract by services and payment in exchange for spiritual teaching, ministering, funerals, etc. In a note of selfish self-promotion, as a dear friend from a show, Out of the Fog, playfully promotes herself, I read just as accurately from a distance over a phone and advise for 2 national lines as well as from my personal studio. Did you know there is a code of ethics for clients getting a reading, which makes their connection infinitely better? Number 1, please come with an open mind. Do not come to your reader to compare answers from multiple readers, as each sees with a different perspective. I will be honest with you with compassionate wordage. I will tell you what I see, feel, and you are always free to ask questions. Number 2, in order to have the best reading possible, be kind, and your reader will give the same back to you. Open your sense of joy, and we will all have fun together. Seriousness is always going to be a part of your reading, but learning to lighten up can make things so much more enjoyable. All right. Could you please say your first name?
Laura.
Thank you. And then again?
Laura.
Thanks. Have you been feeling kind of wishy-washy lately? Because it says your ambition level hasn't been the highest lately. It's like you kind of feel like this is enough. I just want to lay back now. And your reading shows that this energy of feeling laid back and not necessarily willing to have any really intense goals or ambitious avenues to go down seems to last until this is June. So we're looking at August.
Okay.
To understand that your focus in especially August seems to be very distracted. It seems like either you have so many things going on, it's hard to even focus on what it is, or it could be that you just are in relaxing time. It's like everything, just anything that you had wanted, whether it's living situation, financial situation, it all seems to come together in September for you.
Okay.
And it shows in the past, you had some big dreams, some big goals, but something got in the way. I don't know what happened, but everything just kind of got blocked. And when that happened, it said you kind of went into overwhelmment or shut down. And so all I'm telling you is be good to you in July and August, just chill. In September, everything comes together. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
You have one question. Do you have a quick question?
I can't think of anything.
Yes, you can.
I don't know.
When you leave here, you're going to go, why didn't I ask that?
Should she get a job?
Should she, or when will she get a job?
Either.
Well, Laura, yes. Obviously, it says you should get a job. And it also says that you could have a job this month. You could be working next month. But in September again is when everything comes together. Especially, it would be helpful in the circumstances that you're in to be able to contribute. You may find that you have 2 jobs coming, one that gets you by, and then the one that's really nice. And that's in September. So you may just choose a get-by job, a lighter job to contribute. And then in September is when you have that great job that just off person.
Hi.
Hi, Matthew.
How's it going?
Good. All right, say your first name.
Matthew.
Well, believe it or not, Matthew, you've got a great life coming for you. It shows that you're a very focused person. In fact, when you focus on something, it can drive you crazy. Your reading says also that you can dream a lot and sometimes get lost in fantasy.
Yeah.
But there is a sense that you're a very authentic guy. If you say that you're going to do something, people need to know that you will do it, as long as you don't get lost in your fantasies and think you already did it when you didn't. I would say that maybe fantasy can also be visualizing, planning. So make sure that when you visualize or plan something, don't do it so intensely that you actually make the mistake of thinking you did it and then forget it.
Yeah.
Because you are a very focused person. Your reading says that watch out for the month of August. For whatever reason, I show that there's some things in August for you that just don't work out for you the way that you had wanted them to. But it says it all comes together the same month. That is that your mom? The before?
Yeah.
Okay. It all comes together for you also in September. September is like everything that you had kind of hoped would happen does. But it shows also you're very intelligent. You're very focused. You are authentic. You are who you are. But watch out for things that cause you to go into la la land.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the things that would take you off track of your goals and your desires. Especially I show you tempted to get off track in August. So watch out for August of doing something dumb.
Mm-hmm. I will.
And keep very just make sure that you remember this is a month of a weakness month for you. And so you want to make sure that you just keep your eye on the road in front of you, because, oh man, September looks so good for you. Everything looks really great for you in September.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have a question? Mary Lou, this is what comes up around you. You're like a breeze. You're very flexible. Whatever needs to be done, you'll do it. That if it's going to bend south, north, east, west, okay, you'll bend with it. But it shows that you kind of have found that you have to learn to be flexible, because in the recent past, you seem to be promised something by somebody that didn't follow through. And that because of that, you felt as if it was disrespectful, or as if you were not getting the gratitude that you knew you deserved. You're not going to hang on to what you expected for yourself. You realize that that doesn't get you anywhere. But there is one thing that kind of happened by what happened to you in the past. You lost some trust. It really specifically seems as if you're feeling very distrustful about things that are promised to you, or things that you believe can get better, or whatever it is. Or it's okay. You know what? You can get mad. You can kick tires. You can. What is important is that while you're being flexible and going with the flow, you don't repress anything like hostility or anger. Because if you do that, it'll come out and act out in other ways. Discovered, you've learned how to say no. You've learned how to say go to hell.